Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trading Live Market Analysis. Now, before we get into that, just to give you a heads up, tomorrow's webinar will be on trading the 7% retracement pattern. If you want to join me for that, register just at the webinar page. That's at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, and further on Thursday, live Forex market review at 7 p.m. So that's what's coming up for me this week. Now, before we get into it, if everybody can read through the disclaimer. If you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch, or you can follow the link that I've given you and join us in the webinar. For those in the webinar, you can use the webinar chat or the question and answer box to talk to me. Caro, hello to you. So if everybody can just take a moment to read through the disclaimer before we move along. Hello to everybody. All right, let's move along now. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at XAUUSD Securities. I'm a full-time trader. I've been trading now for more than 15 years in the Forex market, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can connect with me at our website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel at XAUUSD Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, you can go over to my Linktree page and you'll get my links there. If you want to get access to the charts that I'm using in MT4, just contact Nathan.bray. He'll set you up. I'll put his details in the chat now for you. And there we go. So let's get into, first of all, the news for the week coming up. I can get, oops, that page. All right, so this is just coming out. So I'm guessing the euro may just popped up. Let's just see what the euro's done. Hasn't done much at all. Okay, I thought that may have just popped up a bit, but it hasn't really. So we just had the Eurozone core CPI flash estimate come out. A little bit more positive on that data release, equal on that data release, so not a major change to the upside. Was expecting a slight downtick there to 2.8. All right. So today, news coming up. 11:30 p.m. from the US with Fed Chair Powell speaking. He can definitely drive the market. And then at 12, moving into Wednesday on the US job openings. These times are my time, Queensland, New South Wales time. Into tomorrow, 10:15 p.m. US ADP non-farm employment change, unemployment claims at 10:30. Midnight, moving into Thursday, we have the ISM service PMI data from the US. 4 in the morning, the US FOMC meeting minutes from the last statement. 4:30 p.m. then in the afternoon on Thursday, CPI month on month. A parliamentary election for the UK all day. 6:30, it's only a minor item, construction PMI for the UK. All day on the 4th of July is Independence Day in the US, so it's a holiday there in the US. So really, as we won't be till we get into the day of, even though this is Thursday, July the 4th for me, it's still the 3rd as we move into the midnight rolling over in the US. So it won't be into the latter end of this time frame here. And we get into where the New York session will be, where it was going to be really quiet that day. Into Friday, we have the jobs coming out. So 10:30 p.m. on Friday, we have Canadian jobs, unemployment change, unemployment rates, and the US average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rates. So this is the big one for the week. What will that show? All right, of course, we also have the FOMC meeting minutes. We're probably not expecting too much change there. This ISM services data release can definitely drive the market. So can these job figure data releases here and Fed Chair Powell speaking. So wherever there's a US one really this week, be very aware. So today, most definitely at 11:30 when the Fed starts talking, he could definitely spook the market a little bit. So be aware of that. All right, with all that in mind, let's get to the charts now. Start with the dollar index. And this is holding to its uptrend still on the day chart. Still not, as of today, holding above the 105.87 level, which is, to the weekly chart, this area over here from back in time. But we've been having 4 weeks up. We're in uptrends, higher top, kind of a triple bottom here. So we're in an uptrend at the moment. But naturally, an uptrend, we get dips. So we're having a little bit of a dip down here on the dollar index. Okay, but I'd anticipate there's a bit of a minor low here. This is really last week's range. And we pull back 62% of last week's range. So that's often where we'll get support and then potentially move up for the new week, put the new week's candle in here. So potentially we could be bottoming out here at the start of the week to move up. And I just want to double check something in my chart data here. All right, something's going on with my dollar index here, because that's theoretically yesterday's candle. Well, let me just have a look, see if they've changed the instrument data. All right, something's going on at the moment in my platform with dollar index. Don't know quite what's going on with that. So hopefully that will start updating. And that's actually yesterday's data, not today's data. I've actually got some other charts that are on my other screen, but I'll just see what price that is trading at on my other charts. 105.62, so it's a little bit slightly lower than that. 105.62, it's around about the 62% level. So I'm not quite sure why that's not working at the moment, but it is what it is. All right, but in any event, if you've got your data working on the dollar index, really we want to see support coming in around 105.68, 60 level for then, in a perfect world this week, we're moving back up to a new high. All right, S&P 500. See our support here, an all-day high. We're obviously very close to the top of the market. It's a little bit flat and sideways at the moment. Does it need a pullback, or is it just waiting for the next bit of positive news to drive to a fresher high? It's always difficult when you're at all-time highs or close to be a trader on an instrument. So this is the 4-hour chart. You can see all the 4-hour low areas coming in here. So 54.49 is support. We could even see this week, if you'd like to trade this instrument, that we might just trade below last week's low here, false break, and then move all the way back up. So it's well worth watching that 44.49.76 level down to last week's low, 54.42.54. Do we come into there intraday, hold to move back up to the top of the range, okay? Right, euro dollar. So it's barely having any reaction to that most recent euro news that just got released. So we did start off quite positive yesterday. I think that was to do with the French election. So we actually have had a week up this week, but we weren't able to hold to the top of the candle. You can see here we rejected at this resistance level at 107.61, and ultimately we could be in this range-bound nature until the job figures comes out. So it is well worth watching to see if we get back up to 107.61 today. That's only, it looks a long way away, but it's only 40 pips away. on this daily chart. Now we did gap up here. It's looking like it's trying to come down and fill that gap. Now price may not get up to the top of this range once more. It may now be heading straight down to the bottom. Now with this range bound environment, I think in general terms, the best idea is to look to see what it does on the outskirts. Now the high time frame trends are more down. So it would be a preferred option to look to sell a further failure up here to trade down to support and then can support break to move down towards 105.99. Now, of course, we're going to have to be patient as a trader because you may have already missed the opportunity yesterday to get short, and we may just be heading down to support to see if we can break it. But quite clearly down here, strong support at 106.67. So if we do trade down there this week and we start to hold intraday, have the expectation that we could well be moving back up. All right, the 4-hour chart. Just breaking below this low has actually turned the 4-hour trend now to down. So there's last week's high here. Pretty sure that will line up with a 62% level or close to. So it would be nice to look for a move back into 79% level overlaps with a 107.61 level. This area here. So we've got last week's high here. This whole area here would be a great area to watch for a rally back to and fail. Or of course, if you move down to 106.67, that could be clear support this week to move back up. We're almost in the middle of these two boundaries at the moment, which isn't ideal for, as a trader. All right, now today, I just want to get rid of that box. It's a little bit in the way on my 15-minute chart. Let's drag it over. What I'm noticing today on the 15-minute chart, after the sell-off yesterday, after the US news that came out yesterday, any rally back up couldn't get to the central pivot point. That's at 107.44. So if we can come back up the range today, last week's high is at 107.45, 107.44 central pivot. This area here would be a good area to watch for today's high to form. And then a move back down. All right. If I wanted to get short today, I don't want to be shorting near the low of the day that's been forming. I want to be trying to sell a rally. So that would be an area up here that would watch. Euro yen. Now, we've actually moved above the monthly charts, this monthly area. Heading towards, so that was back in 2008. We're now heading towards the 1992 major high at 174.74. So monthly trends up, weekly trends up, day trends up on all these time frames, monthly, weekly, moved above this weekly high here at 171.55. Day trends up. We're very overextended here at the moment. We actually gapped up yesterday. So in all probability, we will come down and fill this gap in here. And we could come back down for this level to be supported. It was actually intraday support on these two candles here. See, this candle here came down, got support to move up. So really, it's very high up. I would anticipate that this is going to get filled. We've actually just had an outside reversal candle to the downside. So whilst the trends are up, this 4-hour negativity here is a little bit suspicious, like we're maybe heading down to at least fill this gap here. That would need to get down to 172.43 to fill the gap. And you can see the support we were getting in here last week at 171.53. So being patient, if you wanted to stick with a trend, which is quite clearly up, looking for this to come down to this level, 172.43, or the lower level, 171.55. These are two areas that I would watch to see what would start to happen. Up here as well as last month's high. Last week's high, last month's high here. So if the buyers are clearly in command, that should hold as support if we pull back to that level. Now, at the moment on a 15-minute chart, Well, whilst we've had an outside candle to the downside on the 4-hour chart, when I'm looking at intraday structure here, we're pretty much just tickling around the central pivot point. So it's not that negative intraday. And you can see here yesterday, as we moved up, this pullback here, we're getting support in this zone. And we're still getting support today, as you can see. So any movement, I think, down to this area, 173, to that low there, that could be clear support today to hold to move back up. All right, we're still in very much an uptrend on the yen pairs. All right, so I'm not getting too bearish yet on the euro yen. It's very much overextended, but I think just sitting back waiting for a pullback to a logical level, and then can you see your setup to buy intraday. Now euro pounds moved up to the area that I've had highlighted for a couple of weeks. Came up to the top area yesterday, 84.98. So already rejecting 84.92 today. And you'll see on the 4-hour chart that we have had a lower top form. So really could be selling now, stop above this lower top or stop above the final top. Looking to target down at 83.96. This is the clear broken support levels that we're holding. Are they going to be now resistance for the market to move down from? Okay. All right, pound dollar. Right, so not too dissimilar to what we saw on the euro dollar, but a lot weaker in that we had a much more heavy rejection, trading above last week's high here. But are we failing up here to just continue down now for the rest of the week? So is that a failure here? Came up to this weekly high here, area. We've always been back down to support, 126.12. And the reality is we could stay in this range through the course of the week till we get to the job figures. And we've already been back down to the bottom of the range. So if we once more get close to the bottom of the range, that's at 126.12 today, and we can't break through, really you're looking for an intraday opportunity to get long, to trade back up. That's one viewpoint. Or if you're more bearish and you haven't got short yet, getting short at the moment, you want to see now a clear break of 26.12 this week, and that becomes resistance. Now there's also this level over here at 126.34, which we're just coming back up to. So if you move down, this is rejected a little bit here on the 4-hour. Let me just get rid of those lines. This candle, that was still a negative candle, but it's rejected down here and very close to support. If this candle comes up to 26.34 and holds, then this could be the selling level for the day. And I can see here that we have a fib, 79% levels at that 126.34. So potentially you could get try to look for an entry here, stop just above here. That gives you a very tight, you don't really need to risk more than 15 pips here to see whether this is going to hold now to come down and test support and break. But there is also the opportunity down here if support holds once more that you look for an opportunity to trade up. All right. Personally, I mean, yes, this is the area to look for a short at the moment in today's intraday trading. Personally, I would much prefer up here at 127. I know we're not there, but if we were to revisit this week 127 up to 127.09 where we failed yesterday, okay, I don't know if we'll get back up there this week, but if we did, this would be the better area to look for a short. We false break last week's low, weekly resistance hit. All right, may have already missed up there, but it's well worth having that on your radar for later in the week in case the job figures drive us back up there. But the pound's rather weak, very weak yesterday after the US data release. Can't remember what it was now. Reacted positively, but then heavily sold off. And was the ISM manufacturing. So this ISM service PMI data here, we get a similar reaction on that news day as well. Figure was slightly worse, but when the pairs to the US dollar popped up and then got smashed. All right, this is not quite getting to the 79% level, so may not be getting there. If you're wanting to get short, you might need to think about jumping in. All right, pound yen, like all the other yen pairs, showing a strong trend. The thing with these yen pairs at the moment, they're all at the high of the move. They're all 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days up. Best part of 2 weeks up. They are due a correction. So, buyers need to be aware. Whilst there's no setup to short, really, the market may need a 1 or 2 day pullback. All right. Logical support at the moment on the pound yen is 201.61 here, where we broke above. 4-hour chart, you can monitor the range on the 4-hour chart, pulling back to the 62.79% area. So 203.38 down to 203.02. That would be a zone to watch. Okay, depending on how deep a pullback we get. But you start to see support in that area on the 50-minute chart, great. Or I would look for a pullback to 201.61. All right, Aussie yen. Now, slightly different flavor on the Aussie yen. Yes, it's very bullish. It got within a few pips yesterday of a major high. So the monthly chart, this 2007 high here. I actually got short up here at 107.80. Already at break even. So if it runs up, I've got no risk on it. This is a major high. So I actually got short. I just front run my order a little bit, had my stop above 100 pips, and we pulled back a little bit now. This could just blow straight through there, so I'm risk free at the moment. Or this may just continue its way down. Now, trends are up on all time frames, but that high over there is a major high. We could create a major double top up here if price really wants to. Weekly trend is up. It is overextended. And this is many, many days up. Overextended. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days up. All right, so it's due a pullback in the short term. And of course, we could have a major failure form up here, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. So we're going to go to the 4-hour chart. Last week's range is here. And then we've just moved up. So if you're much more on the buy side of this pair, thinking that the governing trend is going to move through this high over time, I would look for a logical pullback, which is this area here, 62.79% zone at 106.43 to 106.05. What happens in that zone if we pull back? If we get a deeper pullback, the other monthly high that we moved above, well, we haven't moved above this high, we're just almost testing it. We did move above a monthly high last week at 105.42. So we could pull back to that level to hold as support. The other thing to watch out for on this pair would be if we do come up and test 107.85, which is that high, maybe we trade through the high. But then if we false break through the course of the week, then you want to look for a failure up here to trade down, because we might get a sweep of this high taking out stops. false break, and then we come all the way back down. And we could then be dealing with a major reversal. So it all depends what price action wants to do, of course. Can't rule out the bunch coming in at any time to intervene on the dollar yen, for example, because that's getting higher and higher and higher. So as I said, the buyers beware on these yen pairs at such high levels. If we get a nice healthy 300 pip correction or something, I think the buyer beware is less troublesome. Right now, if we are dealing with a failure up here and we've already failed, we had a nice 4-hour candle rejection there. You could, if you're much more on the sell side rather than the buy side, you could simply draw a fib across this range. That was a sell-off range down yesterday. You could look up to 107.68, 79% level, stop a little bit above. Since this low's come in, this price action on the 50-minute chart is generally uptrending, just ebbing and flowing, but it's holding to an upward move at the moment. It's right at last week's high and last month's high right now. So that's actually quite a good level to sell at if you wanted to maybe have a 100 pip stop. We often get a little bit above last month's high, then we false break it. We've moved below it into today's trading, and we're right at it at the moment. So really, we've tried to move above last month's high, we've moved below it, we're back to it. Are we going to move back within the range of last month as we're starting the new month? All right. I did well getting short there yesterday. I had it at 107.80. I was just front running this high by 5 pips because I didn't know whether it was going to get to the high or not. And I just luckily got just clipped in. All right. I am a break even, so I could get stopped out here, and then I'll watch this area and see what it does if it comes up. All right, Aussie dollar is, it's terrible at the moment. There's no trend to it. If you're quite prepared to trade the range, it's not that bad at all. You just have to have your range head on, because I'm short here. Looking to see if we can move back down to the bottom of the range at 65.90. So clear resistance is at 66.79. If it comes back up there, it was there yesterday, it was there Friday. Could come back up there today. That's the sell zone. I don't like where price is right now, because I understand that that's resistance and this is support. So you want to be looking for a sell at 66.79. You're looking for a buy down here at 65.90 if you think the range is going to hold, and then it's back up. All this is doing is operating in this area until things change. Now the New Zealand dollar is breaking to the downside, so Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar are heavily correlated in general terms. So if the New Zealand keeps breaking to the downside, then this may, break support eventually down through here. And we might see a move down towards 64.42 if that correlation, comes together. All right, so rather range bound at the moment. You can go to a lower time frame, but it's the same. I'm just looking at 2 levels. And I could draw a fib from that sell-off yesterday down to low. 79% level is going to be just underneath the 66.79 level at 66.76. So that would be a great area to look for a retest today. Sell there. Stop above these 2 highs. That's assuming price can get up there. So just have to monitor. All right, New Zealand yen, like the other yen pairs, very much high up. Of this, monitoring the fib ranges. Here was the last pullback to 62. We're at the 162 level here. So in terms of price action movement, it's overstretched. It is going down to the monthly high that we've traded above at the moment. So, if we get a close back below the monthly high, that's really a signal to the short side. At the moment, you could be looking for 97.75, which is this monthly high to the left over here, to be support. I don't like trading at major highs as supports because we often false break, but there are two sides to the market. So on the 4-hour chart here at the moment, we have broken above. There's a 62.79% zone here, plus two candles are holding on top of that high. So buyers are watching that for support at the moment. So if you're happy to buy at such high levels, this is your support area at the moment. 97.75 down to 97.69, the 79% level for support. Other than that, if you're not prepared to buy here, you're waiting for a signal maybe to see a reversal down. Maybe a change in the 4-hour structure. So this would need to break the lows here. Can we sweep these lows, rally back up, put in a lower top? Can that kind of structure start to develop? We don't have that structure yet. All we have is bullish structure at the moment. So you need to decide, do you want to be buying here or leave the pair alone? New Zealand dollar. It has been a bit sideways here, but it broke below this area of support last week. And Thursday, Friday, Monday, you can see the wicks and the candles. Came back up for this area to be resistance. Then we're broken below here, and we're obviously testing 60.47. Trend is down. So really, we might get a bounce on support here at 60.47, but the trend is down. 62 level here at broken support, 60.82 to 60.83. That would be an area to watch for selling. Yes, we could come back up to this area as well. Has been rather range bound, 60.93 to 60.98. You can see came down. In actual fact, if you were monitoring last week's range, which was high to low here, this movement up here on Friday into Monday was almost a 62% retracement of that range. And then we came down yesterday. If you're good at understanding structure, we've had consolidation through here. That became resistance over here. So does this area here, which links with this area over here, become resistance now to continue down? That's assuming we bounce here, but I don't sell at the bottoms. I don't sell on support, so I would need to see a rally if I wanted to get short at a logical area of resistance. That's my logical areas of resistance at the moment. And let's just back up to the highest, well, the weekly time frame, which I've been discussing. Over the last week or two, whether there was a double top forming. I'm actually short on this pair at 61.39. This weekly double top here to the weekly chart. This pattern's running out and it's breaking to the downside at the moment. If we break this low, the double top target, height of the pattern projected below, it's down here at 54.85, which coincides with this 2022 low. So are we going to see a move down to about 54.85, 5,500? If we are, it's time to look for a rally to get short. I'm already short at 61.39, so I'm risk-free. All right, so it's back to my 4-hour chart here. Those are the areas to watch. All right, dollar Canadian, not my favorite pair at the moment. It's in a horrible kind of ranged area. There's a number of ranges going on here. On the weekly chart, it's a high bottom, lower top, and we're holding within this range. Don't that fib's telling me anything at the moment. Just from the weekly chart perspective, that's support. So if we get back down to that area, that's support. We got a fraction short of that area last week. I said watch that area last week. Now we're at day chart resistance. You'll see it on the day chart, and then we've got weekly resistance up here, 37.84. So we're back up to resistance at the moment. It's holding at these highs. So really, depending on your viewpoint, if you're a buyer, you wanted to get short last week, looking to see if this can trade up to the top of the range. If you're a seller, well, you could be looking in the area that we're in right now because we're kind of rejecting here. 37.34 to 37.43, these two highs to the left. The market doesn't like that area. So I think today, this actually could be getting ready to break high. It's doing this little, if we break this low, it's not breaking higher. But at the moment, it's doing this little tight thing where often we get a large move, first of all, and then we get tight. We come up, we get a tight pullback, okay, and then we go boom. So at the moment, if you're prepared to try and trade to the upside, I'm proven wrong. If we can't break this low, this is going to get support at the 79% level. All right. So you can be watching this now. If price action starts to look a little bit bullish on the 15-minute chart, if you can get long close to 137.30, stop just below here. If you break that low, then it's coming down the range. If we get support in this zone, can you see a trend line break to the upside? All right. Now, if we do break this low at 137.23, then this 137.34 kind of resistance level at the moment to the left on the chart, watch for maybe a retest. We might sweep this low, watch for a rally back up to 137.34 on last week's high to hold, to trade down, back down to the support area from the weekly chart. All right. Personally, I don't really like the Canadian at the moment. It's very range bound, but I'm just looking at price action and trying to understand what it's doing. And we're at the 79% level there of that range. So are we going to be holding here to move up? Dollar franc has been rather strong since the interest rate cut the other week. It's moved back above. The weekly chart's moved back above this area. Moved back above this resistance. So I would anticipate this is coming up to 91.47 at the moment. And in a perfect world, on the day chart, it would be nice to see a pullback now to this area, 89.90. I'm online at 89.91, 92. Look for a pullback to that area if the market offers. Can already see, it's going to move my fib over here a bit. I'll just get that fib off at the moment. You can always see on the 4-hour chart that it offered some support here. We closed above two candles, dipped below, offered support to move up. So then expect that area to be support. If it'll give you a friendly pullback, 89.91, 62% level here at 89.94. Watch the area for support. Can the market offer pullback to continually move up towards 91.47? All right, so again, looking to be patient. There's a pullback to a logical level of now support, hold to move up. All right, dollar yen. Like all the other yen pairs, it's overextended. It's actually moved above one major monthly high at 160.33 and the intervention high at 160.13. So just to the monthly chart, we've moved above this area here at the moment. Next area is at 164.47, so we're 310 pips away from there. Now, we all know we're very high. We all know the Bodge can come in and intervene. Doesn't like the price. I'm sure we'll be seeing some headlines from them say, we are watching the price of the dollar yen, of the yen, very closely. They could intervene on Friday after the job figures, or maybe the intervention at the moment is off the table. Because, to the day chart, this is where they intervened last time. And of course, we came down a healthy 830-ish pips. But of course, we're trading above that at the moment. So will they come in and intervene, or have they just given that away now? So last week, these two daily candles, what the lows here were getting support on or close to the 166.33 level. So that 166.33 level and the 160.13 level, if you're prepared to be a buyer at such high levels, this is the area to watch for support. All right, because that support was offered there last week. It didn't offer resistance for the market to fail at. Price went above it and it offered support. So if we pull back this week, will the market continue to support there? So there's two scenarios this week. Does price come back to this area, 60.33 to 60.13? It could come down to 160. But does that area offer support to continue to move higher this week? You don't want to be buying at the top of the move. Even buying intraday, some intraday price action at the moment at the top of the move or close to, it's too high up. Allow it to pull back to logical support if the market will do that for you. And then this is a zone to watch to be a buyer at. If support gets withdrawn, so if you break through, you watch for that area to become resistance to move back down the range. All right, so this is the area. Trading is a game of patience. You've got to work out where the best areas are that mean a lot to traders. That area is going to mean a lot to traders this week. Firstly, will it be further support? Does support get withdrawn? Does it become resistance? All right, to finish off on gold here, this is where I highlight support on Thursday, and I think price had just started to move off that area when I was highlighting that area. We didn't revisit, but quite clearly 22.95 today chart in this area here. Nothing's really changed. 22.95 down to 22.77 support. I don't really like gold at the moment. You can see it's very kind of it's broken to the upside here and then came back into this range. And really it's still in this range from up here. So if I'm going to the 4-hour chart, really, resistance is here. It's about 23.40, and support's down here at 22.95. So those are the two boundaries of the market at the moment. And as we've already failed up here, and we're not there at the moment, so I can't short it there. I would now just be waiting to see, do we come back down to support and support hold for a move back up. All right. So today for sure you could look to see if price comes up here. Does that hold to move down? If we move down to here, does that hold to move back up? Those are your boundaries at the moment on gold. Rather consolidator, as I was saying, we've had a bit of a false break up here. Couldn't hold it. High time frames like the weekly chart is up. We're just at the moment rather uncertain sideways on gold. But as the high time frame trends are up and they broke above major highs, a few months back, trends up long term. So it does favor waiting for price to go back to support and keep your positions in line with the major trends. Right, so that's my thoughts on gold. Just have a last look at the pound, see what it's doing. Might come up to that 79 level. It's not quite getting there. Euro, it's got no legs today. Very positive yesterday. It's got no legs today. Don't know whether it can get up to that central. Where's my central pivot point? It's this line here. Let me get rid of that fib. This would be the area I would look for a rally to if price can do that today. Doesn't look like it can do it today. But we do have later in the day. Fed Chair Powell speaks later. And whilst that looks a long way away on the euro dollar, it's not very far away at all. We're only 32 pips away from this area. We can easily get there when the Fed starts talking. Okay. All right, so quite a number of data points this week, specifically the US job figures on Friday. We could stay rather range bound, as I was highlighting on the pound and the euro. Bit range bound between support and resistance. As I say on the pound, we've actually bounced on support today already. So whether we are going to now hold at 26.34 and move above, time will tell. But we could just stick between support and resistance up here all week. And on the euro, we could, failed at resistance, we could come down to support down here over the next couple of days and then bounce back off, stay range bound. We are moving into the summer holidays in the European zone, and we can get a little bit range bound, usually more in August, but we could get range bound in July as well. So it is worth understanding. We are heading into a bit of a slower period of the year where summer holidays in the Northern Hemisphere, traders go away on holiday, can get a little bit sideways. And we've already seeing that on the Aussie dollar, for example. When we look at the Aussie dollar and interest rate decision process at the moment, neither the US or Australia are probably going to cut rates anytime immediately. Aussie may actually put interest rates up in August. So it's a bit got no direction because neither country's cutting. There's no clear cutting going on. So we're very sideways. All right, pound dollar maybe heading towards a cut. So this weekly chart here, I've been discussing this head and shoulder pattern here. Then we're getting more closer to cutting. So if we see a clear break of support this week, even though it's a little bit range bound in here at the moment, we get a clear break below 26.12, so below 26 this week, we could be heading down to 123. All right, so market is a little bit range bound at the moment. And if it is, you have to trade it like it's a range. So don't be selling too close to support, expecting it to break when it doesn't want to. Now, I was saying, maybe it doesn't want to hold below 26.34. Could maybe get a tight entry in here, stop just above here. Do we run down and attack support today at 26.12? All right, leave with that thought. If you want to join me tomorrow, I'll be going through the 7 amp retracement pattern. Just head over to the webinar page. There's a link at the top. Just register your interest, and I look forward to seeing you then, okay? Thanks, everybody. Just be aware of the news items coming out. We could have some volatile releases. It was a bit volatile after the US event yesterday, but Chair Powell will be speaking today, so he could definitely drive the market. All right, so be careful. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ricardo.